Greetings guys, it's BlazeReg here, back in with another video. Today I figured to do the Atron. A very basic frigate, but it's very good in that it's like got actually like a lot you can do with this frigate. Most frigates you'll be wanting to keep at range or just orbiting, right? There's usually one niche that each frigate like sort of occupies, but the Atron, you can do a lot of things with it. Really what you're going to end up be doing is either orbiting close with a antimatter, keeping at 1 free K with a void, or scram kicking with null, depending on the engagement. Void, you basically want to be using against stuff that you can't mitigate the damage through. Say like something like a Kestrel or a Breacher. That might not be possible against say a Kestrel, as you're mostly dual web these days and probably pull range. But antimatter you want to be using against stuff with less tracking than you. Say like a autocannon Rifter that's using 200s, or like a beam Tormentor, or just like a pulse Tormentor in general. If they're not dual webs. If they're dual web Tormentor and you notice that, you're generally best working off. There's not really too much of a way to like deal with that. But Null also has a like, especially with the fall off bonus in Atron, is really strong. Especially against other brawling frigates. You shouldn't really be able to beat other brawling frigates in this Atron, especially if it's weak tank. See, like stuff like Maryland's and Incursus can give you a really hard time, especially if you're warping into them. But once you pull range and say something like an Incursus, use Null. Generally start at 5k and then pull out. We'll see that in the upcoming fights. But yeah, I'm surprised how well this Atron did. It got a lot more losses than what I have with like my previous like dual web stuff. But again, definitely like good fun, right? You can always crack off that scram, put our web on if you feel so inclined. But I figured everyone's getting a bit tired of the dual web meme. And yeah, this was a good little fun frigate to fly. But enough about the mumbling, guys. Let's get on to the fights. Okay, for our first two fights, we have Incursuses. This is Incursus that you'd be pretty much mostly be seeing now. It's the AB Web Scram one. A small anti and some resists in the lows. We take a bit of damage pulling range at the start there. Basically keep at 5k. We're out of his void antimatter range, that's good. He doesn't switch to null in the get-go, which is good. Most people will start void and antimatter expecting you not to pull range. He does end up switching to null and we start taking like a lot of damage here. So basically, I end up pulling my range up to 7.5k. We'll still be hitting out with fire guns. He won't be. The max range you're going to be hitting out with on a null and like an unbonused hull is 7.5 small guns. So you might get occasional grazing out of this range, but like not enough to warrant worry. You'll see that once we start pull range, we're tanking easy. Drone's still applying very well, but Still himself is missing an occasional hit or two. Once I notice that we've pretty much got this in bag, I pull my keep at closer just to finish the job off. Do be careful, that Incursus can be very strong if it runs dual webs. If that was a dual web Incursus and we warped into it, we should have just warped away. Now this Incursus is something that's not as common, but it is like around, so you need to be kind of careful of it. This is like the rail AB web long point Incursus. Since we were warping into this Davy, now I'm looking to approach him. It's very difficult for us. I don't know if he has any regs to increase his speed or any lows. But we do eventually get a web on him, but since he got the web on us as well, it's going to take us way too long to get into like an orbit. So that's a very rough Incursus to warp into. We'd eventually get underneath its guns, but it's not going to be quick enough. So basically, I try and line out here. This is like I try and leave at this point, because this is like not a Incursus that we want to fight. And it's looking very bad for us. I do double click away from, hoping that maybe our base speed's a bit better with the overheat. And then we can pull range, but I don't believe it is for us. And yeah, we end up going down here unfortunately. But this Cursus is around, but you won't see that commonly. You usually see the dual web blaster one. That one we fought previously, but do be worried about this Incursus because it is about and I can do actually quite good things. I've never flown it before, but it seems interesting for sure. Okay, this is dual web Kestrel. Had I warped into this would have been awful, man. Dual web Kestrels are very rough one to warp into, but since I've fought this dude numerous times, I know he's fit. He's small anti. I'm going to basically use null as start. Had I not known what this guy's fit is, I would use void or antimatter to start, keep out 1 free, and then if you start to pull range, switch to null. But since I know exactly what this guy's going to do, pull range with his dual webs, I load null to start, and thankfully that's enough to get it. Had he been like armor buffer, I think it would have been far harder for us. He would eventually pulled range, tank that way, or the shield buffer one. But nevertheless, that's a good fight. Okay, here I have a fight against 3 different Marylands. This first one's pretty standard what you'd see is like AB web shield, medium shield extender, and this is honestly I'd say this is a very weak T1 frigate. I basically keep it at 5k null, and then this block either I believe takes too long to load null, or he doesn't actually end up loading null. And you'll find that a lot of T1 frigates don't bring null for whatever reason. It freaks me out. People just bring void and antimatter and hope that wins it for them. It freaks me out, man. But yeah, I really don't like this Maryland. I either like the dual web armor one or the dual web shield one. I feel like just the lack of range control in this particular Maryland's very, very rough for it. Now this next Maryland is going to be the dual web armor one. Warping into one of these in Atron will be very rough. Thankfully, I'm starting at range. I keep at 6k, and I get some really good hits, or he's like late in his reps, and he goes down pretty quickly, man. And it takes him a while to get into range. I could have finished it with null here, but I was expecting him to tank more. I think I was keeping more an eye on myself than my opponent. I switched to void as he comes into range, since we've done enough damage, and use basically void to finish it. He's basically just burning straight at it. It'll take him long enough, like a very long time to get into our range, and we have the range bonus, so that's pretty much how we handled that one. But warping into that Maryland's very rough. Now, the dual web rail Maryland, on the other hand, does very bad things to us. Especially since I always go expecting blasters. And basically, like, I was going to keep at 5k with null. I do some mistakes here. I see rails and notice that we're losing heavily. So I'm like, oh. Actually, I wasn't keeping too much of an eye on him. We actually could have potentially won this, but I just wanted to escape. Maybe if I approached him and he didn't pull his range out far enough, wouldn't be expecting the amount of DPS we'd be pulling with null, we could have won this. This is a very hard fight for the Atron if he pulls everything off correctly, and which he does. He might have been better pulling his range out further. Well, no, GF's boys. Okay, this is a fight against a dual medium ancillary breacher. This isn't the most common breacher we see. It's usually going to be medium ancillary and then a small ancillary. This basically highlights what you want to do against a breacher. Keep out one free and use void, right? And then just basically DPS him down. You don't want to be approaching here because you'll hurt your tracking. You want to try and keep him at range if you can, which is what we do, thankfully. And I believe he's just approaching us, or we're keeping out because he's somehow faster than us. I believe. I think he has speed mods in the lows. So if he orbited us and mitigated our damage through that way, it would have been like very rough for us. But thankfully, it doesn't. Just approaches. We keep at range. And everything is good for us. Okay, here I have two things against Atrons. Warping into an Atron, check what range you're at and switch ammo accordingly. You have a 10-second invulnerability, which you can do so. I see this guy at close, we have void loaded already, and that's fine. But if we see them at range, we'd probably switch to null. If I was in the Plex first, I'd always usually go null, and I keep at range, because I feel like it's a safer play. Potentially they could be faster, and then like it'd be bad for us. But this fight, I'm really impressed with Peanut's piloting. This is a really good pilot here. So you'll see I come into the Plex. He's at range. I've got void loaded, so I'm right null. Because I've fought Peanut numerous times. There's always sort of like a null battle between us. He comes in close, and I'm like, oh, is this how we're going to play it null, huh? So basically, I keep at one free, use void. And yeah, I don't think Peanut actually ends up switching to switch to void, or at some point he ends up switching back to null. There's some really impressive piloting for Peanut's part. He read me like a book, is what they would say. This is still like a very close fight. I have cap penalty on my exile, but that does not factor into this. Peanut's like sheer piloting here won this for him. We do eventually go in cap dry, but you can see once he pulls range, we have void loaded. I do end up switching to null, or cap's getting low. He's fully repped. We were out of small anti-charges, so it would have been a lost stars regardless. But I'm very impressed with that bout. And again, like GF Peanut, that was an awesome one. Okay, that's the fights I had for you guys today. I do hope you enjoyed. I know I enjoyed playing this Atron, man. Like especially those mirror fights, mirror matches against like a Peanut and like everyone else. There's a bunch more Atron losses and Atron wins I got against those mirrors, but they don't include like 5 Atron fights in the video. Regardless, like GF for those guys especially, but I had like some really good fights in this little thing, and it's it's a surprise how well this Atron could do. See, when you think of Atron, you don't really expect like a very good PvP boat, but once you fly, you actually realize there's like a lot of things you can do with it, especially if there isn't any two webs in play. There's a lot of ways you can play it. Like, a lot of people sort of sleep on the Atron. That's why very much why I enjoyed flying it. But, yes. Again, like, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah. And do enjoy the rest of your evening, day, weekend. I shall catch you guys later.